The letter lay heavy in my hand, its weight a physical manifestation of the burden it carried. It was not just a piece of paper. It was a call to action, a plea for help that I could not easily ignore. My brother's words, filled with desperation and hope, pleaded for my return. He spoke of a monstrous creature, a being of his own creation that now terrorized the land. His once brilliant mind, now clouded with regret and fear, reached out to me in his time of need. As I read his words, I could almost hear his voice trembling with anxiety. The creature he had brought into existence was not just a threat to him, but to everyone. It roamed the dark forests, a shadowy figure that brought destruction wherever it went. The thought of facing such a beast filled me with dread. My brother needed my help, my strength, but fear, like a serpent, coiled around my heart, squeezing tight. I longed for the comfort of my solitary life, for the familiar walls of my home, where I felt safe and secure. Yet I knew I could not ignore his plea. The weight of duty pressed down upon me, a heavy burden that I could not shake off. I was torn between the instinct to flee and the knowledge that I alone could ease my brother's torment. The creature, born of his hubris, was now a threat to all. Could I turn away? Could I abandon him to face this horror alone? The questions echoed through the chambers of my mind, each reverberation amplifying my fear. I thought of my peaceful home, the place where I had found solace and tranquility. It was a sanctuary from the chaos of the world, a place where I could be myself without fear. But now that peace seemed like a distant dream, overshadowed by the looming threat of the creature. I knew that if I chose to stay, I would be haunted by the knowledge that I had abandoned my brother in his darkest hour. The weight of that guilt would be unbearable, but if I chose to go, I would be stepping into a world of danger and uncertainty, facing a creature that could very well be my end. The weight of duty pressed down upon me, a heavy burden that I could not shake off. I was torn between the instinct to flee and the knowledge that I alone could ease my brother's torment. The creature, born of his hubris, was now a threat to all. Could I turn away? Could I abandon him to face this horror alone? The questions echoed through the chambers of my mind, each reverberation amplifying my fear. I had to choose to embrace my duty or succumb to my terror. The decision I knew would shape my destiny. It was a choice between the safety of my home and the unknown dangers that awaited me. The creature, with its monstrous form and destructive power, was a symbol of my brother's greatest mistake. It was a reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition and the dangers of playing with forces beyond our control. But it was also a challenge, a test of my courage and resolve. Could I rise to the occasion? Could I face the creature and save my brother from his own creation? The questions weighed heavily on my mind, but deep down, I knew the answer. I could not turn away. I could not abandon him. I had to face my fears and embrace my duty. The decision was not an easy one, but it was clear. I had to go. I had to confront the creature and save my brother. The weight of duty was heavy, but it was a burden I was willing to bear. For my brother, for the people of the land, and for myself. With a deep breath, I steeled myself for the journey ahead. The path would be fraught with danger, but I was ready. I had made my choice. I would face the creature, and I would not back down. The weight of duty was heavy, but it was a burden I was willing to bear. The decision I knew would shape my destiny. It was a choice between the safety of my home and the unknown dangers that awaited me. But I was ready. I had made my choice. I would face the creature, and I would not back down. The weight of duty was heavy, but it was a burden I was willing to bear. Sleep offered no escape. Nightmares, vivid and relentless, plagued me. The creature, a grotesque mockery of man, haunted my every thought. Its eyes, filled with a chilling sentience, followed my every move. Its voice, a guttural rasp, whispered threats and accusations in my ear. Was this the consequence of unchecked ambition? Was my brother's creation a punishment for daring to usurp the role of a creator? The questions gnawed at me, mirroring the moral dilemma that consumed my thoughts. My brother, in his quest for knowledge, had unleashed a terror upon the world. Was I, by helping him, complicit in his sin? Could I, in good conscience, involve myself in this monstrous affair? The lines between right and wrong blurred, leaving me lost in a labyrinth of doubt. Each path I considered seemed to lead to further darkness. The decision came with the first light of dawn. A new resolve, born of necessity, and a sliver of courage filled me. I would answer my brother's call. I would face my fears. With a heavy heart but a determined spirit, I set out. The open road stretched before me, a tangible representation of the journey ahead. Each step forward was a victory over the fear that threatened to cripple me. The world, once a source of comfort and familiarity, now seemed vast and menacing. The wind howled like a banshee, echoing the turmoil within me. The trees, their branches twisted and gnarled, appeared as grotesque figures reaching out to bar my way. Yet I pressed on, fueled by a growing sense of purpose. With each passing mile, the confines of my fear seemed to loosen their grip. The world, though still daunting, no longer felt entirely hostile. A glimmer of hope, faint yet persistent, began to flicker within me. Section 4. A Guiding Light. My journey led me through bustling cities, where the cacophony of life was both overwhelming and invigorating. The streets were alive with the sounds of honking cars, street vendors calling out their wares, and the constant hum of conversation. Each corner I turned revealed a new facet of urban life, from towering skyscrapers to hidden alleyways filled with stories waiting to be told, and across desolate plains. The stark contrast between the crowded cities and the vast empty landscapes was striking. In these open spaces, I found a different kind of beauty, one that spoke of solitude and introspection. The endless horizons and the whispering winds seemed to carry the echoes of ancient tales, reminding me of the timelessness of nature. I encountered people from all walks of life, each with their own unique stories and experiences. From the bustling marketplaces to the quiet corners of rural villages, every interaction left an indelible mark on my soul. It was during one such encounter, amidst the laughter and shared moments, that I began to understand the true essence of human connection. In a humble village nestled amidst rolling hills, where the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the sound of birdsong, I met Father Michael. The village, with its quaint houses and winding paths, seemed like a place out of time, untouched by the chaos of the modern world. Father Michael's eyes, filled with wisdom and compassion, saw through my carefully constructed facade. His presence was calming, and his gaze seemed to penetrate the very depths of my being. He had an aura of serenity that made it easy to open up to him. He listened patiently as I poured out my fears, my doubts, and the burden of my brother's plea. His silence was not one of judgment, but of understanding. It felt as though he was absorbing every word, every emotion, and offering a space where I could be truly vulnerable. As I spoke, the weight of my worries seemed to lift, if only slightly. Father Michael's presence was a balm to my troubled soul. He didn't offer immediate solutions, but his mere act of listening was a comfort in itself. His words, spoken with quiet assurance, resonated deep within me. He spoke of forgiveness, not just of others but of oneself. He emphasized the importance of self-compassion and the need to let go of past mistakes to move forward. His message of forgiveness struck a chord with me. It was a concept I had struggled with for so long, but hearing it from Father Michael made it seem attainable. He spoke of the power of redemption, of the ability to start anew, no matter how lost one might feel. The power of redemption, he explained, was not just a religious concept, but a universal truth. It was about finding the strength to rise after a fall, to seek light in the darkest of times. His words painted a picture of hope and renewal. He spoke of the importance of facing one's demons, of confronting the shadows that lurk within. It was a daunting task, but he assured me that it was the only way to truly heal. He reminded me that even in the darkest of times, hope could be found. Hope, he said, was like a light breaking through dark clouds. It might be faint at times, but it was always there, waiting to be discovered. His faith, unwavering and absolute, was a beacon in my storm-tossed sea of doubt. Father Michael became my confidant, my guide, and my friend. His unwavering belief in me, even when I doubted myself, gave me the strength to continue. He was a guiding light in my journey, illuminating the path ahead when all seemed lost. Our conversations were filled with wisdom and warmth. He shared stories of his own struggles and triumphs, making me realize that I was not alone in my journey. His unwavering support and genuine care were a source of immense comfort. Even in moments of uncertainty, his reassuring presence was a constant reminder that I had the strength to overcome any obstacle. His faith in me was a powerful motivator, pushing me to believe in myself. With Father Michael's guidance, I found a renewed sense of purpose and determination. His teachings and unwavering support became the foundation upon which I rebuilt my life. I walked forward with hope and strength, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Section 5. Facing the Shadow. As I drew closer to my destination, the stories of the creature's monstrous deeds grew more frequent and more horrifying. The villagers spoke in hushed tones, their eyes wide with terror as they recounted tales of disappearances and strange noises in the dead of night. Each story seemed more unbelievable than the last, yet the fear in their voices was unmistakable. Fear, a constant companion, threatened to consume me. It gnawed at the edges of my resolve, whispering doubts and feeding on my insecurities. The darkness seemed to amplify every fear, every shadow morphing into a potential threat. Yet I pressed on, driven by a sense of duty and the hope that I could somehow right this terrible wrong. The weight of responsibility was heavy on my shoulders, but it was also what kept me moving forward. I couldn't let the fear win. Too much was at stake. The forest where the creature was said to be hiding loomed before me. Its dense canopy blocked out the moonlight, casting the ground in an almost impenetrable darkness. The trees stood like silent sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal hands. It was a place of shadows and whispers, a physical manifestation of my deepest fears. The forest seemed alive, its very essence steeped in malevolence. Every step I took felt like an intrusion, as if the forest itself resented my presence. The air grew heavy, thick with the scent of decay and the weight of unseen eyes. It was as if the forest was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. The oppressive atmosphere made it difficult to breathe, each inhalation feeling like a struggle. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig, sent shivers down my spine. My senses were on high alert, every sound magnified in the silence. The forest was a symphony of subtle noises, each one a potential harbinger of danger. I felt a presence, cold and menacing, watching my every move. It was an unsettling feeling, as if unseen eyes were tracking my progress, waiting for the right moment to strike. The sensation of being watched was almost palpable, a constant reminder of the peril I was in. The feeling intensified as I ventured deeper into the forest, a constant reminder of the danger that lurked nearby. The deeper I went, the more the forest seemed to close in around me, its shadows growing darker and more oppressive. Yet I would not be deterred. My determination was a beacon in the darkness, guiding me forward. I had a mission, and I would see it through, no matter the cost. I had come too far, endured too much to turn back now. The journey had been long and arduous, filled with trials and tribulations, but each challenge had only strengthened my resolve, hardening my will to see this through to the end. I would face my fears, confront the creature, and find a way to end this nightmare. The thought of finally putting an end to the terror that had plagued the land gave me strength. I knew that the path ahead would be fraught with danger, but I was ready. I would not falter. I would not fail. The creature would be confronted, and this dark chapter would be closed once and for all.